Their prayers were answered sooner than expected. Hours passed, but Hawk had yet to return. The house was growing cold, as the firewood had burned to ashes, yet the only thing on the mother and daughter's minds was not their own well-being, but Zanina's health. The only sounds that filled the room were the howling wind and the ticking of the large clock beside the fireplace. Sarah and Eva were on the verge of sleep when a loud knock at the front door startled them. Instantly, they both rose, frightened, hoping more than anything that it was Zanina returning rather than Hawk. There was only one way to find out. They had to look out the window. Eva hesitated, then peered outside and gasped in surprise. It was James. She banged on the window and shouted, "James, we're locked inside." At the same time, she gestured frantically, trying to get his attention. James looked around, searching for the source of the voice. His eyes landed on Eva at the window. "Eva, open the door! I can't hear you!" Eva opened the window and called out, urging him to come closer. "We don't have the keys. We're locked in." James quickly signaled for her to help him climb in through the window. Once inside, he greeted them politely, though confusion was evident in his expression. "Why are you locked in? Where is Zanina? Where do we even begin?" Eva started, but then hesitated. "But why are you here, James? Shouldn't you be stationed on another island, tending to your duties in the army?" "I was summoned back to my previous post. They informed me that Joshua and Erica have been arrested, and they believe I should remain on the island to assist with the case. That's why I came, to let you know about their arrest. But, Eva, you still haven't explained why you and your mother are locked inside." Seeing James's impatience, Sarah encouraged her daughter to tell him the whole truth. But before Eva could say a word, she saw her father approaching on horseback through the window. He was singing a cheerful tune, clearly drunk. "There's no time to explain. You need to hide." "Eva, why are you whispering? What's going on? Who is it?" Before James could turn to look, Eva pushed him toward the kitchen, urging him to crawl under the table. "I'll explain later," she whispered, before quickly returning to Sarah's side. Moments later, the door creaked open, and the two women watched as a drunken Hawk stumbled inside, struggling to bolt the door behind him. "You're still here?" he slurred. "You locked us in our own house," Eva said sarcastically. "Where else would we be, dear father?" "Silence!" Hawk snapped. "It's your fault. You two are the reason I didn't have the courage to face Erica and Joshua. My problems with you both drove me to this." His face was flushed red, and the stench of smoke and wine clung to his clothes. He held a bottle in one hand and raised it over Eva's head, as if to intimidate her. "I'll ask you one thing, and don't you dare lie to me. Where did that horse outside come from?" "The horse belongs to us," Sarah interjected, but her words only made things worse. Hawk shoved her aside and emptied his bottle over Eva's head. Then, grabbing a candle from the table, he held it dangerously close to her. "I'll burn you alive if you lie to me again," he threatened. Eva began to cry, desperately trying to think of a convincing answer. But before she could respond, Hawk tipped the candle, letting its melted wax drip onto her hair. "Well?" he pressed. Before he could bring the flame any closer, James emerged silently from his hiding place, gripping a heavy vase. He crept up behind the furious man, who was too focused on tormenting the women to notice him. With a forceful swing, James struck the back of Hawk's head. The impact was strong enough to knock him unconscious. James watched him slump to the floor and muttered, "That should keep him out of our way for a while." "James, I need to explain," Eva started, her voice shaking. "Explanations can wait. We need to leave," James said firmly. He reached into Hawk's pocket, retrieved the key, and unlocked the door. Before stepping outside, Sarah and Eva embraced him in gratitude. Then, without wasting another moment, They rushed to the stable, hitched the horses to the carriage, and prepared to leave. They had one last task before departing, making sure Hawk wouldn't be able to follow. By taking all the horses with them, they ensured he wouldn't have a means of chasing after them. But there was still a matter to settle. "We're going to Aunt Louisa's house," James declared. "Once we get there, I want to hear the whole story from the beginning. Agreed?" Eva disagreed. "We don't have time for that. We need to find Zanina." Father threw her out while she was already terribly ill. "If that's the case, then we have no time to waste," James agreed. Without hesitation, they set off, calling Zanina's name as they searched the nearby woods. An hour passed, but there was still no sign of her. As they neared Aunt Louisa's house, James made a decision. "I'll leave you two here and continue the search on my own. I won't come back until I find Zanina, and you have my word. I will bring her home." With determination in his eyes, he unhitched his horse from the carriage, bid them farewell, and urged his horse into a swift gallop. He combed through every conceivable hiding spot, his mind consumed with guilt for not being there to protect Zanina. His frustration fueled his determination. He would not give up until he found her. Then, suddenly, he spotted a large cave ahead. Logic told him it was unlikely that Zanina would have sought shelter there, but something inside him refused to dismiss the possibility. Yet, his heart reminded him that it was his duty to search every inch of that place. After a brief moment of thought, he dismounted his horse and tied it to a tree. He stepped into the cave, moving hesitantly, as the only thing before him was utter darkness. He called out Zanina's name, but no response came. Nevertheless, he did not abandon his search, for something deep within urged him to continue. He proceeded with cautious steps until he reached the dead end of the cave. Still, there was no sign of her. Turning back toward the exit and treading carefully, he noticed from a distance that the moonlight had gathered upon a curled-up figure. He couldn't yet discern whether it was an animal or a person. He would take the risk and approach to be sure. "It's certainly not a wolf," he murmured to himself. As he drew closer, he knelt and reached out, his hands searching the form. The clothes, the hair, the face-it was Zanina. A wave of relief and joy swept over James. "Zanina, I found you!" At last, he gathered her into his arms and wrapped her in his coat. Carefully, he carried her out of the cave, placed her on his horse, and held her tightly to keep her from slipping. Within a short time, the familiar sight of Aunt Louisa's house came into view. Sarah, Eva, and Aunt Louisa had been waiting anxiously, and the moment they saw them approaching, it felt as though they were welcoming the greatest gift they could ever receive. They would do everything in their power to help Zanina recover. Yet, she had not fully grasped that James had saved her. They laid her down in one of the rooms of the house. For a brief moment, her eyes fluttered open, scanning the worried faces around her. She struggled to recall how she had ended up at her aunt's house, but slowly, memories resurfaced. She remembered the moment her father had cast her out, her desperate attempts to summon her strength in hopes of survival. She recalled how the mist, exhaustion, hunger, dizziness, and cold had drained the last of her will to go a nun till she had no choice but to surrender. By sheer luck, she had found a cave to rest and regain some strength, but from that point onward, her mind was a blur. Her illness had stolen her senses, carrying her away to another world one that had severed her connection to the present. She parted her lips, struggling to speak, and in a faint voice she murmured, "My guardian angel has the right to step into my world, but I shall wait to know true love on the journey ahead." With those words, her eyes drifted shut, and a peaceful sleep overtook her. No one suspected that her final words were an affirmation of a wish she had made only hours earlier, alone in that cold, desolate cave. Wounded and disheartened by life, she had granted her heart's deepest desire the permission to come true. to leave behind the cruel world she knew and be carried away to another, perhaps better one. A world filled with hope, joy, and peace, all bound together in a new beginning, a new identity, a new life.